You ready?
Yes.
Imagine that friend that's always cocky and will always put you down no matter what. When you guys explain a problem, he'll tell you that you're wrong, even though he's actually wrong. This is why I actually disagree with John Wayne. He says that never apologize and never explain. It's a sign of weakness. He said this in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. I highly disagree with this. I actually think it's the actual opposite. That if you never apologize, and also if you never explain yourself, that's actually a weakness. First, I'd like to explain why never apologizing is a weakness. And also, next, I would like to explain how never explaining yourself can be a weakness. And finally, I'd like to wrap up with explaining how actually explaining yourself can actually be a strength. So first off, never apologizing actually is a weakness because it takes a person with great strength to be able to actually admit that they're wrong and apologize to someone. And just in personal experiences, if you always, like, no one likes to be around that person that never apologized for, like, if they hurt your feelings or someone says, oh, like someone that puts you down, they always put you down, they never apologize for it. No one ever wants to be around that person. Next, I'd like to talk about how if you never explain yourself, it's a weakness. Not being able to explain yourself to people, it kind of, whether you like talking about a point, if you always just say that like you're right, but you don't get into details and like talking about it, people don't understand what you're talking about. Like, so people don't understand. So say if you're talking about math, if all you do is work out a problem, say this is the answer. People that are confused by the problem, they don't get to understand it. But when you actually explain it step by step, students can actually look at it and see, oh, okay, like 2 plus 2, oh, I see how, so you have 2, and then you add them together, that's how you get 4. Instead of just saying, hey, here's the answer, 2 plus 2 is 4. And then, lastly, I'd like to explain how explaining things can actually be a strength. To be a strength, it's actually, if you have the knowledge and the power to be able to explain something, that shows that you actually have a strength to be able to have all the knowledge to actually know something well enough to actually explain it to people. So instead of just always just telling people that, oh yeah, this is right, but being able to actually like break it down to smaller steps and actually showing them that, hey, this is how this works, and then because that works, you can go to the next step, and that's how this works, and this works, and this works. It's also just, it's just more welcoming towards people being like, okay, yeah, here, I understand you don't understand it, let me explain it for you, instead of saying, well, you're stupid, you're too stupid, this is how it works. So wrapping up, I'd like to say that never apologizing and never explaining is a sign of weakness, but being able to explain to other people, I think that's a sign of strength. So I disagree with John Wayne saying that never apologizing and never explaining is a sign of weakness.
All right, Wade, the visualization that you use for an attention device is fine. The transition to the topic is good. You've got a clear point of view. You set up a preview, so the structure is solid. You signpost internally, so it's also pretty solid. The problem is on the first and third points especially that your examples seem really abstract, and they don't sound too much more like anything except that you're repeating the points that you had in the preview. You're not adding much meat to them. I thought you did a little bit better on the second point, and there was a little bit more of an illustration there. And again, there'll be some places that you could fill in and make it more interesting and more realistic. On the presentation issues, your voice projects well. The variety in your voice is okay. It sometimes seemed a little bit like you were rushing through the presentation, and that was one place where your anxiety came out. The other place seems to be in your feet. You don't really get into a confident position. You're not pacing too much, but you just don't look comfortable. I don't focus. You're not going to see the bottom of your feet when I'm showing. When you get in the video, it cuts off right about calf level, but you'll see that you kind of shift your weight around and move your feet a little bit more than you really want to be doing. Facial expressions are okay. Your eye contact with the audience is actually pretty solid. I did like the fact that at the end you came back and had a summary and a good exit line, made the point that you're trying to get across pretty effectively, and that's sort of what we're looking for. So that part, I think, works well. So you got the structural stuff down, and most of the presentation things, a few things that you need to be watching for. All right. Thank you.